Hi everyone, I'm back again. Today's topic is actually very interesting. So guys, if you want to have a pen and paper ready with you, feel free to make some notes, because this whole thing, the whole idea of taking rent-to-rent property and giving it to supported living, the whole idea just sounds so lucrative, and many people, innocent people, they get into it and they think, wow, this is amazing, this is like very passive. We'll take a property from landlord, we'll give landlord this set rent, and then that's it, for 10 years, 5 years, we are all right, really, because we don't need to do anything, because that's how the whole idea has been sold. So guys, if you guys are still watching, if you are still listening, then do say hello, so I can see that you are able to hear me, you are able to talk to me. So yeah, let me know, guys. I'm keep freezing on my phone, so yeah. Yes, okay, so let's talk about this supported living. How lucrative is it and how practical is it? So I'm going to give you a number of questions. So when you are taking any property and you think that this property can do very well for supported living, or somebody is offering you a property, it could be a sourcer, or it could be a letting agent, or it could even be hi Stacy, hi Ahmed. Yeah, it could be even a landlord. So you need to make sure that you are doing all your due diligence, because if it is really that good, the very first question that should come in your mind, that if it is really so passive, why doesn't this landlord do it himself? Why is he passing it on to you? Because the whole idea, any landlord would give you their property is because they want passive income from you. And this supported living, that's what it does. If you are giving your property to social housing or supported living or any of the charities, that's what they will do. They will take it on a long term. If property matches their criteria or fits whatever they are looking, their requirement, then they will take it on a long term basis, and they will give that set rent to the landlord. So why would that landlord give it to us? So that should be very first question that should come in your mind, that if that is the case, why are they offering it to us? Because it just doesn't logically, it doesn't add up. So if something doesn't sit right, so maybe you're right. So don't doubt and don't ignore. Always listen to your gut instinct, listen to your sixth sense as well. So this should be your very first question, that why this person or why the landlord isn't doing it, because it's a passive income, definitely. So that's your question number one. Now, question number two, you need to think about, when you're taking any deal and you think that I want to give it to, to social housing, or I want to give it to, different charities, or I want to give it to these people, so I can sit back and I can just get my rent each month, and then part of it I can pay to landlord, and I can still make some money. But before all this happens, you need to go through so many things. You need to go through, it's a lengthy process that you need to go through. You need to meet so many criterias. So first thing you should be checking, if anybody is offering you a deal, am I going to get any rent-free period? Because don't forget, the moment you're going to take a property from a landlord, your clock is ticking. It's all right to think, oh yes, I will take this property and I will pass it on to social housing, and it will give me that set income, and that's it, I'll sit back. But this is where you need to question, because these are very practical. These things actually happen in real life. When you're taking any property, social housing, or even any charities, they're not just straight away going to take that property. They will do number of checks, they will inspect the property, they'll go through their process, which can be very lengthy as well, which can take few weeks or couple of months. What are you going to do with the rent in the meantime? Are you getting rent-free period from the landlord, or are you prepared to pay from your own pocket? So there are so many things to it. So what you need to think about, that is it really as lucrative as they are saying? So this should be your second question. You should be questioning it, because normally when you get a property, you really, your clock is ticking, and you really need to then put things in place or start advertising your room, so you're filling your property and you're ready with your money to pay to your landlord your next month's rent. So this is one thing you need to bear in mind, that am I getting any rent free with it, which is obviously not always, always going to get that rent free period. Hi Richard. Yeah, so that's another thing. So write it down, guys. If you're gonna take any property, do not go for it blindly. Don't go for it, naively, and don't think, oh yes, this sourcer is passing me this deal and it sounds really lucrative, but what do you know about it? Have you done enough due diligence on it? So if it sounds really too good to be true, maybe you're right. It is too good to be true, So definitely that's another thing you need to think about. Now, number 3 question that you should have in your mind, whenever, if a property is coming from a sourcer, if property is coming from a sourcer, you'll see in different groups, sometimes, sourcers will put a deal and they'll say, guys, we've got amazing deal here, which, you can make passive income from, but the sourcing fee is £3,000 and on the ongoing basis, we will be charging this much, this much money from your monthly, whatever money you will make or you will get from your property once it's been given to a charity or social housing. So you need to think about that, okay, this sourcer is actually taking, thank you Shirley Ann, thank you for all your love hearts. Thank you. Yes, you found me finally. So yes, so basically you need to think about that if this sourcer is saying it's a lucrative deal and they are charging me £3,000, why don't they keep it for themselves? Why are they offering? If it is a passive income, there is nothing that stops them from keeping, keeping that deal for themselves, because otherwise logically it doesn't make sense. In fact, if they keep that deal which is coming from a landlord, they don't even have to pay sourcing fee, on it. So logically, you need to think logically that if these guys are offering me this deal and they're going to charge me, is it really worth it? There has to be a catch in it, so you always need to have that type of mind. You need to, I'm not saying be negative, but don't blindly just take any deal. Sometimes I see deals in different property groups and I find that, sourcers will say, oh, we've got some really good passive income deals or passive, some great properties that are coming on the market. If you're interested, let us know. This is how much we will charge for sourcing and we'll sort everything out for you, and you're going to get £500 or £600 per month, but they will ask you a big chunk of money to pay in advance. Now logically, when you put, it all sounds really lucrative, but people don't look at the bigger picture. So this is where you need to look at the bigger picture, that if I'm taking this deal and I am spending about 6,000 or whatever I'm spending each month, and okay, even if it is passive and I'm only going to make £400-500 every single month, if it's going to take me just to get my own money out, if it's going to take me 20 months or 24 months, is it really that good? So for 24 months, if you're just chasing your own money, then is it really worth it? So this should be your question, because any rent-to-rent deal, if you're not able to get your money out in less than 12 months, then in my opinion, it's not really a good deal, passive or no passive. So people are really innocent in that way, and I think there are people who will, they will really take advantage. And my heart really goes out for, people, because I sometimes come across, even in my group, I find sometimes people would message and they would say, Sapna, I've come across, because I do live and people know that I do rent to rent, so they would message me privately and they would say, Sapna, what do you think? Somebody so and so is offering me this deal and it's for supported living. And I just say, think logically, how long it's going to take for you to get your money out, and if it's going to take forever to get your money out, is it really that great deal? And why is that sourcer not keeping that deal for himself or herself? So this should be your number one question. So there is no such thing as passive income. If they are saying it, definitely there has to be a catch. If they're going to take a small chunk out every single month from it as well, plus they've taken upfront fee, so it's them who are making money from that deal, not you. So you need to really think about all these things logically, so that should be another question. Now, question number 4, you should have in your mind that, does this landlord have right type of mortgage in place? Because not every mortgage company will allow that property, wherever they've given. If they've given a mortgage on a property, they will not allow social housing, they will not allow supported living, in that property. So you need to really have, you need to be very transparent with the landlord, and you need to find out whether landlord has got consent, on that. Because, and you need, in fact, sometime when you will try and reach out to social housing, or you will try and reach out to supported living, or even different charities, they will actually ask you for proof. They will ask you for written confirmation that landlord is happy with it, with this arrangement. And for landlord to be happy, he should really be doing his homework, and he should really be checking with the mortgage company that he is doing it legally, so he's not really breaking any terms or condition, whatever he has, signed in his mortgage for when he applied for his mortgage. I mean, obviously, if he simply inherited that property, or if that property has been fully paid, then it's a different matter. But these are really, really important questions. You should really be asking all these questions. So this should be your question number 4. So, I mean, this is why I say it's all right for people to say, oh, this property is available and landlord is happy for you to do a supported living, but there are so many gray areas people don't think about. So this is something you should really be asking your landlord, or if that deal is coming from a sourcer, you should be checking all those things, because it's very, very important. Now, guys, next point, very important point. Again, if you want to make a note, because it's all part of your due diligence. And today's live I'm doing, it's like I'm giving a lot of value out today, because, this is something people don't normally disclose. People talk about all the glorious stories, how well they are doing with, they are taking properties and they're giving it to, to supported living and making passive income. But I sometimes find this is very misleading, because people need to know the true side of it as well. And because I've been doing this business, I kind of know the other side of it as well, of the coin. So this is why it's so important that when you are taking any deal, you need to make sure that you know what you're doing. You need to make sure that you've done all your due diligence on it. Now, another thing that you should really be checking, that this landlord has got right type of insurance in place, because not every insurance will allow landlord to have this property for social housing, or for supported living, or for charity, or for vulnerable people, because you need a specialized or special type of insurance on that property. So it's very, very important that landlord has notified his insurance company, and he's told them that I am giving this property to the company, and that company will be letting it to social housing or to supported living. And because in case if there is any damage or anything happens, he is in breach actually, because he's not really informing his insurance company, and they will not cover him for it, for any damage. So these things should really be, you need to really clear all these things before you start all this, or take any property or any deal. That's why I say don't blindly take any deal. You really need to make sure that you are doing your proper due diligence. It's okay to say, okay, yes, we'll take this deal and we will use it for supported living, but are you really doing your due diligence? So it's very, very important. I mean, guys, have you heard of the strategy before? Have you heard that rent-to-rent and supported living? If you guys have heard about it, let me know, because it's I come across quite a lot. This is like something people really, they show off about it. They say, get into it and we'll like find you some properties, and then, you can have a truly, truly passive income on it, and it's something that you need to be very, very careful about. Don't just fall for it. Really important. You're better off giving your properties to professionals, because at least from day one your property is earning you income. There is so much more to it, than just taking and passing it on, because no social housing, no charity, no supported living, services, they will not just take property just like that. They will do their checks on it. They will do number of inspections. Do you really know how much it's going to cost you? Because some social housing sectors, or some supported living departments, or even services, or charities, before they take your property on board, because it's such a lucrative way of renting your property, they actually want you to go through their application process. And when you fill out that application, you need to pay a set fee. And don't forget, when you are applying for them to use your property, which you've taken on a rent-to-rent basis, there is a fee to pay as well. And if they don't accept your property, that fee is not refundable. Now that fee can be between £160 to £1,600. It just depends from charity to charity, or department to department. So they all have their different charges and different fees. So those are the things you need to really check before you actually commit yourself and just blindly take any deal, because I feel that there is so much more to it. It all sounds very lucrative, but be very cautious and be careful before you commit yourself, or before you sign any paperwork with the landlord, and take any deal from any sourcer and pay them that hefty fee. And this is where I think a good mentor will be very useful for you. If you don't have any, get someone who's really, really knowledgeable, who has come across these situations, and who can save you from making costly mistakes. Really, really important for you. So again, going back to that, so don't forget, when people apply for their property to be used as for social housing, or for charities, or for vulnerable people, there is an application process you need to go through. There is a fee that can be non-refundable. And also, like I said, you don't know how long it's going to take. The process can take 1 week to about 10 weeks, and in between you will still owe rent to your landlord. What you going to do with that? So you need to be prepared. Are you ready for that? Because that means it's going to delay you getting any money from that property, basically. So you need to bear in mind those things. Don't be naive, because it's a business strategy. You're going to commit yourself for 3 years, 5 years for a deal where you can't get out easily. It's a legal contract you're signing. You're getting yourself in that type of situation, and it can be very sticky. So make sure that you are checking, asking all these questions, and you're going through everything. Now, another thing, there is a myth about it, that people say that if social housing or if charities or supported living, if they take your deal, or if they take your property, they'll just pay you lucrative amount. That's a very big myth, and people need to they need to really do their homework properly, because this all depends. It varies from charity to charity. It varies from one department to the other. It really depends on which department, which service wants to use your property, because not everybody will pay you lucratively. It all depends on the size of the property. It depends on their budget. It depends on the postcode. It depends on, what type of changes they're doing and for what type of people they are using that property. So it all depends. It all depends on that. So don't blindly, or don't just think naively that just because your property is going to supported living, you're going to make some really solid, money on it. I'll give you one example. Now, last year, I came across a deal where landlord was, it was a 6-bed property, and landlord was asking for £1,600 rent, and he was very open, and he was happy for, in fact, he was the one who suggested that I should use this property for supported living. I thought that was fantastic, because that's when I really closely examined this whole thing. I thought, okay, this sounds really good that this landlord is open to it. But when I reached out to different charities or social housing, or different type of services, those type of services who would maybe interested in that property, the price that I got from them was that they were maximum I could get on that property from them was 1,400. Now that means if without doing my due diligence, if I had gone for that deal and I had signed up a contract with the landlord, and if I had agreed on £1,600 rent, that means I would have made a loss of £200 each month, every single month. I'm not even talking about all the work that I would have to do initially just to make it suitable for that, to so they can actually use that property, to make it compliant, so it suits their need basically. So I'm not even talking about initial cost, but these are the things. There is a lot of myth around, about this whole thing, that, oh, take your property, take this property and pass it on to supported living. Landlord is happy. But there is a reason. That's exactly what I said initially as well, that if a property is available and landlord is happy with, for any charity to take it, then why would he not go direct? Why is he giving it to us? So there has to be a reason. So you should be questioning all these things. You should really be doing your due diligence. You should really be checking everything before you commit yourself. Yeah, so there is so much more to it. There is a lot more to it than what I'm saying here, because obviously here I can only cover number of things, but if you look really deep into it, there is a lot more to it. You need to then make property compliant. That's another big expense, and is landlord okay with that? You need to think about all those type of things. It's going to cost you a lot of money. It's not your own property. It's a rent-to-rent deal that you're taking. Every time you're putting any money in that property, that means you are then, you're working out, or you should really be working out, how soon am I going to get my initial investment out? Because the whole purpose of you doing this rent-to-rent is to get your money back out from that deal, and then start generating some money, which, start making infinite profit on that property. Because that's when it becomes really, really lucrative. Once you have got all your money out from that deal, and then whatever money you make each month on that deal, this is when that any rent-to-rent property or any rent-to-rent deal, that's when it becomes really lucrative. And that is the whole purpose. That's why you want to get into rent-to-rent. So rent-to-rent is a fantastic strategy. Now there are many things, even change of use, applying for change of use. There is so much more to it. If you want to learn, reach out, about this. I don't mind, talking about it, because there is, like I said, there is so much more to it that I can't even cover in this, in this half an hour live here. But definitely you need to think about all those things. Yeah, because do you need planning permission? Those are, that's another thing. Do you need to apply for change of use? Do you know how much it's going to cost you? I'm talking about making it compliant by installing different things inside the property, because that charity may have certain type of requirements. Because I know from my own experience, last year someone took a property, a landlord, he owned that property, so that was fine with him. But this charity had specific requirement. They had asked for single beds in every single room. Now that landlord, because he knew the charity was going to take it on a long term, once he spent that money, then he knew that he could make money for 10 years on that deal. So he was fine with it. But it's different when you are a rent-to-renter, because in that particular property I'm talking about, when landlord decided to give it to charity, he had to get rid of all the double beds that he had in all 7 bedrooms, and then he had to replace all that with the specific type of beds that they had requested, and but it's all right for him to do it because he owns this property and he knows that he's going to get his money back out because it's his property. Whereas if you are a renter and if you are thinking about all those strategies that you're going to take this property, you're going to pass it on, but don't forget that these people will have very specific needs. You need to think about, you need to really cater for them. Yeah, that's right, Shirley. And you said I've seen a few people go for this kind of deal and they thought it was amazing, signed the contract and realized that they lost crazy money. Yay, I know, exactly. Definitely. 100% that this exactly, this is, I have actually witnessed it as well, Shirley, and very true. Hi, Krasi. Hi, Maria. Thank you for you guys, your company. Yeah, I have actually witnessed all this, and it breaks my heart because, people get into rent-to-rent because they want to create that, cash flow, but because sometimes they get misled by either by a sourcer, or they go to these networking events and maybe somebody tells them, paint this rosy picture to them that, okay, this is how great this strategy, the whole thing is. People love it that, okay, we'll take it from landlord, we are not investing, and then we'll pass it on to supported living. But there are so many checks, so much you need to check before you actually start making money from it. So don't be naive. I would say do not commit yourself. There is so much to it. You need enough time, first of all, in hand to do all that due diligence. So you are under time pressure. Are you really going to get that rent-free period initially where landlord will allow you to do all those checks? And how soon are you going to find, a right type of charity or social housing services, or that type of those type of people who will want that property? So be very careful. That's all I can say. I'm not saying that it doesn't work. 95% times I have personally not come across. What I've seen is 95% it doesn't work. It's okay if it's your own property, then by all means, you give it to charity, you do whatever you need to do, because obviously the whole purpose is that this money, this property is going to make you that, that this property is going to make you basically money each month. And if you're giving it to any charity or for social housing, then you can sit back and you can relax and you can enjoy, that rental income coming in. But for rent to rent, it's a totally different story, and you need to do proper checks and you need to really go through everything basically. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. Like I said, there's a lot more to it. I can go on about it, but for now, I'll keep it to this, but be cautious. Always have plan B. Think about it that if I don't use it for supported living, is this property still suitable for professionals? Do you know what type of checks you need to do to make it suitable for professionals? Do you know what you need to check on that? There is so much more to it. So definitely don't fall in that trap. Check properly and then decide what you want to do. It's a great way to give your property to to social housing or make money, but always use it as like okay, you can have it as plan A, but have plan B as well ready and do all the checks and everything. Guys, thank you so much for all your company, and I hope you guys heard me. I know a few times I think my connection was a little bit weak and I did lose it. I think on my phone it seemed like I did lose it, but thank you so much for your company. Really enjoyed talking to myself. Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you, Shirley Ann. Yes, guys, be careful. And if you like to learn the strategy, then reach out. Yeah. Enjoy rest of the evening. Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you. Really appreciate your love hearts. Made my day. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Shirley Ann. And thank you, everybody. Enjoy rest of the evening. Bye-bye.